And as you can see here, these fillable boxes, you would have them put the name of their business in box 1. Box 2 would be if they're under a trade name doing business as, they would list it there. So now that we've gone through all the boring form part, making sure what boxes you have to either fill out, make sure your vendors fill out, let's look into more of why this is so important. What does this form actually do for you? Why are you responsible for collecting these forms? Hey, I'm Christy Barber, and I am a business process and financial expert helping in the small and medium-sized businesses with all of their accounting technology. Today, we're going to dive into the 1099s as we're getting close to starting off the lovely season of taxes. We're kicking it off in January and addressing what does it look like to be prepared to send out those 1099s, what forms do you need, and what do you need to get set up in your QuickBooks or other accounting software that you may be using. So it's always helpful to dig into what does all of this mean? What do these numbers mean on these forms? What forms do you even need to have? There's tons of stuff on the IRS website, and I always let people know you can go there to download these forms. And when you're hiring a independent contractor, you will have them fill out a W-9 form. The W-9 form will help you understand what type of business structure they have. Is it an LLC? Is it an S Corp, C Corp, sole proprietorship? And that's really why the W-9 form is so important, is you as the person employing this independent contractor or a vendor need to understand what that is. So then you will know, hey, do I have to send a 1099 out or not? So if you go to the IRS website, you can see the URL up here, but you can also just Google W-9 form, and it will take you to the IRS's website, and you can pull up this form right here. So this is what you will have all of your independent contractors fill out and what you'll have your vendors fill out. And as you can see here, these fillable boxes, you would have them put the name of their business in box 1. Box 2 would be if they're under a trade name doing business as, they would list it there. You see that sometimes with different companies. The big thing you want to understand is this box 3A. This is going to be where they tell you what type of business they are. Are they an individual, so sole proprietor, meaning they operate off of their, what's it called, their own social security number. If they're a S corp, C corp, S corp, partnership, etc., they will put that there. If they are an LLC, you will have some of these that they're an LLC by structure, but then they pay their taxes as a different format. So it could be a lot of people out there they're an LLC with an S corp tax elect. So they would check this box and they would put an S here. So letting you know that, yes, we are an LLC, but we file taxes as an S corp. Then they would come down, they will fill out their address, city, all of that. And then over here, if they are a sole proprietor, they will put their social security number. If they are a legal business entity, they will put their employee identification number. So if you need any help filling these out or just understanding what you need to send to your vendors or contractors, feel free to reach out. I know sometimes as you're getting started in a business, it can be overwhelming to know what forms need to go out, or especially moving into a tax season where maybe these should have been collected at the beginning of the year or throughout the year to make sure everything's were up to date. And now you're moving towards a time crunch. So feel free to message me, email me, happy to walk through this process with you. So when we talked about the structure of the business and knowing who do I really send 1099s out to. So when you get that W-9 form back from your vendors and contractors, you'll want to take a close look at that box 3A, where they're telling you what is their legal structure. If they are an S Corp or a C Corp, you do not send them a 1099. They don't have to because of how their taxes are. They file their taxes on a separate form, 1065 or something else, that then gets submitted to the IRS. If they are a LLC and they file as a pass-through entity as a Schedule C, where they just mark LLC or a sole proprietor, then you have to send out a 1099. You will also have to send 1099s out if you are paying rent to your building, etc. Some of those. But this right now, we're just highlighting more of the 1099, and it's called the NEC, which they changed a whole bunch of those things a couple of years ago. And that is what is for the employee or the contractor side of things and the vendors. So now that we've gone through all the boring form part, making sure what boxes you have to either fill out, make sure your vendors fill out, let's look into more of why this is so important. What does this form actually do for you? Why are you responsible for collecting these forms? So the big thing was the IRS has this rule of if you pay anybody more than $600, you have to give a 1099 to them if they meet the standards when you fill out this form. And so that's why it's a big thing of you have to get this form filled out. 1099s have to be mailed out to these vendors by January 31st. And you don't ever want to have to file them late because with everything when it comes to the IRS, there's a penalty and you don't want to ever have to pay any of those. And so this is just a good way to help you get up to speed of going through your list of all of the vendors, contractors you paid that meet these standards of $600 or more, are an LLC or sole proprietor, that you need to send them this, that you need to send an actual 1099 to them. The next big thing to consider is, gosh, how are we going to send these forms? You think about the old days, you'd go down to like an Office Depot, if they're even still around these days. I think they're far and few. And you would buy some 1099 papers and you would feed them through a printer, put a stamp on them, and send them out to the people. But now that we have great technology or better technology, we can actually do all of these forms digitally and it will file them with the federal government for you on your behalf, which is awesome. QuickBooks is one of the softwares that does do this. Gusto does it if you're doing contractor pay through them. I like to use a software called 1090 or Track 1099 that is with Avalara. It will connect directly to QuickBooks. I think it's better than QuickBooks. It's more seamless and it's a little bit cheaper. And who doesn't want to save money too, right? So I go through and I make sure all the information is correct before the end of the year. So go using this W-9 form, checking is the name right, the address right? Do I have an email address for this person that this form is going to go out to? And then I also go through QuickBooks. I pull a report by this person's name and then confirm that, yes, I have all of the numbers. Is it greater than $600? Yes. All right, I'm going to have to send this form out. So then what I do is I go into track1099.com and you can look that up. Easy way to connect it with QuickBooks. You will then just say, hey, import the data from QuickBooks. QuickBooks knows because I have flagged these people as that a 1099 needs to be tracked for them. And so it'll import all of that data directly into the Track 1099 software. From there, you'll just double check, did all the information come over correctly? Are the amounts correct? And if so, you can just move through the process. It's quick 3 steps to go through. And that's just confirming that the address is correct. If you are mailing it to them, Track 1099 will mail on your behalf if you'd like them to. You can also print a copy and mail it yourself. Otherwise, if you have all of the recipients' email addresses, it will email a copy of the 1099 to them. And you can just make sure that they know that it's being sent to them digitally. There are still some rules around that you have to let them know that the form is coming to them versus a paper copy. And so it just helps. And then the last step is the software will file with the IRS for you. It gets all the forms going, and then you can download those and then keep those and give to your CPA when it comes time for taxes, and then you're all done. So you just think about how much technology has saved time versus how this used to be of printing all these annoying paper copies and trying to track, oh my gosh, on pen and paper, did I get all the right numbers? Is everything correct? So as you should be, there's a lot of great software out there to handle 1099s. Track 1099 is just one of the many out there that I really like and have used for over 5 years. So when looking at the process around this, it's very important to have a process to begin with. How many times I get clients that one either had no idea that you have to collect a W-9 or didn't know a 1099 had to go out. And so there's a good way to just start. What type of process should you guys set up for your business when it comes to making sure that you are ready for end of the year to be able to send 1099s? And so I always tell everybody, before you pay somebody, you kind of you let them know, hey, I got to have this W-9 form filled out before I can submit payment to you, because that ensures that I have it the right company, the right address, and I have everything needed so that in the future, when it comes to year end, hey, then it's easy to pay and make sure that those 1099s are correct. And so that's a really good start to make sure, how do you want to collect those W-9s? Some people, it's when a contract's signed, they make the W-9 come through at the same time. They input that into their system so that they're able to track from the very beginning, hey, who has one, who doesn't. And then also looking at the end of the year, maybe a couple of new contractors or vendors slipped in, you forgot to get that. This just ensures that you have a process from the beginning, so you're not stuck at this end of year when everybody's busy and you're calling and hollering at people trying to get a copy of that W-9. Another thing to consider when getting ready for 1099 season is knowing that you only need to send 1099s to recipients that you have paid through your bank. It's not if you paid somebody through a credit card, because your credit card's going to take care of that for you. They'll send a form out called 1099K, which is awesome. So then you don't have to take care of those. And oddly enough, the 1099Ks that your credit card companies or people like Venmo send out have different thresholds, which again, why can't they make everything consistent and easy for everybody? I will never know. But again, it's the government, and I think they do it on purpose just to confuse all of us small business owners when it comes to making sure that all the right numbers are in there. And one of the big things is I hear a lot is there's always something going on in social media where, hey, if you use Venmo and you paid your brother $650, you're going to have to send a 1099. You don't. That's not how it works. This is 1099s in the business environment. If you send money with your Venmo business account, Venmo will create a 1099K on your behalf and send those out for you. So you don't have to worry about that. But there's just a lot of confusion and I think fear mongering when it comes to the 1099s around Venmo and things like that when you're using it for a personal side of things. Ignore those. That has nothing to do with it. Again, if you're using a personal account and you're paying contractors and various businesses on there, okay, different problem. You're going to need to create a 1099 for those people. But if you're just paying friends back for food and groceries and whatever else on there, you don't have to do the whole 1099 thing when it comes to that.